I hope I'm audible at the back. Yeah, great. So while the team puts up the presentation, really insightful session by Gayatri, and moving from empathy to empowerment. Okay, because that's the topic given to me. That how can we really look at empowering the customer? I guess the critical question which needs to be answered by each one of us when we look at empowering the customer is: do we really want to do that? Because we may say in a boardroom or a conference room that, hey, we need to empower the customer, okay? That's the buzzword, right? You empower the customer, you give the power to the customer, but do we really trust our customer? That's the question, right? Typically, people do not really do that. Giving one more example linked to that, Gayatri was talking about call centers, right? Now, we all know call centers, when you look at the pyramid, they are at the bottommost, right? The least paid guys. Right? But what we want from them? We want them to be aware of each and everything in the company. We want them to deliver empathy, sympathy. Right? We want them to do everything. But are we empowering them? Because if we can't empower them, we can't look at empowering the customers. Right? So with that thought, let me just move on. Okay. The first slide actually came. When I got this topic, I was thinking that should I get into a global Gyan session, which I call as GG, or should I do some real life examples and all. Then my team said, the boss, let's do a combination of both, right? And they kind of put forward this key numbers, right? That first of all, when we're looking at empowering the customer, let's understand what the today customer is looking like, right? So from few numbers, right? 91% are actively looking for ways to simplify their lives, right? So simplify is the key word. You're looking at empowerment, but if you can't make your customer's life simple, empowerment is of no use, right? You say that, okay, I'm going to give X number of features on my app, on my WhatsApp, but it's not user-friendly. The UI, UX is kind of something which is not really working out. You're not simplifying the life. You're actually making it complicated, right? Right. So the front end, the UI UX has to be simplified, right? Do all the heavy lifting at the back end. Give your IT guys the tough time to do the back end job pretty well, so that your front end is actually looking smart. Look at the other number. 87% of these convenience seekers would pay for products or services that save time from them. This is that CBA. If you can make it convenient, simple, seamless, today's consumer is ready to pay more. Right? Gone are those days where we are saying that, hey, give me those discounts and all those stuff. Gayatri was talking about Swiggy. Swiggy's menu card price are much more than if you go to that restaurant and buy that. Right? We all know that, right? But still we do it. Right? We go ahead and pay that 20%, 30% extra on a Swiggy or a Zomato for what? For convenience, nothing else. So gone are those days where, the myths are that customer is not ready to pay you more. They are. It's just that, are you thinking in that right direction? The next point, social media. We all know, my 9-year-old son, he is more on social media than me. Right, good or bad, we can debate later, but that's the reality, right? And he's going to be the customer and the next customer, the future customer of all of us, right? So they are on social media, we can't deny that. So put whatever you have on that. Don't shy away of being on social media, right? I've seen brands where, they get really disturbed, to use that word, that if customers start putting negative thoughts. What I feel, it's a good thing, right? Because when the customers are going on social media and putting negative thoughts about you, it will make you work. It will make you slog to say that, yes, I'm going to deliver. Just to give you an example, today at Bajaj, and Bajaj basically full form is Bajaj, Allianz General Insurance Company. So at Bajaj, what we have done, any customer who's writing an email to us, right, the response, We don't give a generic email ID that in case you have an issue, you're not happy with this response, you escalate with, the escalations at bajaj.com or whatever. No, it is my ID. Okay, why is that? It's just because of that. That if my mailbox will get clogged with emails of escalations, I will make sure that I get the things right for the customer, right? So give that pain, to your management, right? Because if you're going to give that pain, the management will do for what they have been paid for. Okay? To support those other stuff, look at the age. We're talking about personas, so that's the persona. Moving ahead, what is the empowerment for the customer? Okay, voice. We all know. We do it. Voice notes, right? We have seen, many apps turning into voice enabled, right? I strongly believe voice is the future, right? Things will be enabled through voice, right? And as I said, there are 3 V's, okay, to voice. First V, of course, is the voice, the conversational AI and all those stuff. The second V is video. Okay, seeing is believing, right? And the third V, coming into the context for Bharat, vernacular. So as a brand, if you can get these 3 V's right for the future, you're safe. Your CX strategy is in good hands, right? You don't have to really worry more on that. Okay? Again, 85%, this is what Gartner is saying. 85% of consumer interactions will be non-human, right? But a small caveat there, to what Gayatri also mentioned. Empathy, right? That empathy, sympathy, perhaps the human is better, right? While you digitize your physical, humanize your digital to get that empathy piece into it, okay? Some other gyan, M factor, mobiles, especially in India, it's a no-brainer, right? If your services are not on your mobile, be a WhatsApp or app, perhaps it's not going to work. But a small caveat again there. Today, all our mobile phones are filled with I don't know how many apps, right? But there would be a time where the super app will come and play the role of everything. And we are seeing, many brands moving towards that, right? Look at Tata's, right? Tata Neo, that's the start, okay? Soon you're going to see all the Tata brands under one super app, right? So that's going to be the future. But the app is here to stay. App is not going anywhere. Alternate channels, I talked about it earlier as well, social media, right? For example, Bajaj, we are today present across everything. Because we say that wherever our customers are, we need to be there, right? And we have a customer base of 14 crores. That's the base that we manage, right? Which means roughly what? From an adult population standpoint, 1 out of every 3 household, we are there, right? And look at the numbers on social media, you don't have to really, it's a no-brainer. I talked about is AI, conversational AIs are here to stay, right? But again, don't get overboard with that, right? I am a strong believer there is no end-to-end automation. I'm a strong believer. People, there are service providers who will say that, sir, we're going to do end-to-end automation for you. That's a stop for me. Because we are fooling ourselves. In this real world, there is no end-to-end automation. Can any service provider tell me that their platform or their service will be 100% accurate at all times? I have not seen any, right? Which means what? That there will be exceptions. There will be issues, right? And there, you need that human intervention, right? So AIs are there, but yes, don't forget the human. I talked about the videos, right? Again, very, very critical. We are seeing on Instagram Reels many brands, right? They've got into this, promoting their brand, their products there, mostly the startups. Now at Bajaj, you'll not find any TV advertisements. We don't do that. With 14 crore customers, we don't do that. Right? There are no hoardings. We again don't believe in that. What we believe is our customers are there on social media, videos, let's be there. Let's capture that space, be there, right? And let the customer talk about you, good or bad. At times, the negative publicity is also good, right? Because that gives you that chance to improve, right? Take charge. The problem is that when that negativity comes in, you kind of step back and say, hey, I'm not gonna, this is bad, right? No, it's not bad. Go for it. Now, these were the 4 things which the organizers basically gave that perhaps cover this in the presentation, right? And rightly, associated with Bajaj as well, because these are actually our pillars. When we look at our entire CX strategy, these are the pillars that we follow. And I'm going to give some, examples at Bajaj. Sorry, I don't have any other example apart from Bajaj, right? I'm from Bajaj, so I'm going to promote Bajaj, right? So I'll give you some real life example. Now, before getting into examples, let me just quickly walk you through the process. In my introduction, Charmaine also mentioned that I have a background working in GE. So from there, this comes in, right? Because at GE, I learned that put everything into a process, right? Process can fail, but again, you will have mitigants to take care of it, right? So we actually created this process at Bajaj that how do you really empower the customers? It's a 5-step process. We said that first, it has to be starting from listening into your customer. Most often, companies say that in a boardroom, let's empower. Okay, this particular issue is there. Why don't we empower the customer? That's how the start happens, right? That's not a good idea. Is your customer really looking for it? Because what will happen is, if you don't listen to your customer and you do some investment, huge investment, and get your IT guys to slog and create some jing bang around that, the customer is not going to use it, right? The adoption rates, right? And what will happen next? The CFO for your next project will not approve, just like that, right? So everything will have its repercussions, right? So don't do that. Listen into your customer, then figure out the stated and the unstated needs. Unstated is more important. Because stated is what the customer actually is paying us for, right? Because, for example, at Bajaj, what is the customer paying us for? To pay claim, right? That's the moment of truth, okay? Now, in that stated need, obviously the customer says that, first is that please approve my claim, okay? Do it faster. Now, that's the stated. Can you look out for that unstated need? Because that unstated need actually will create experiences. Your stated need is linked to your service, okay? You're providing a good service, best-in-class service, all of that. But you can't create experiences with stated needs. You have to go beyond and look at those unstated needs. Then once you have that entire list of your stated and unstated needs, do a simple gap analysis, right? That, where am I? Okay, do that simple table of tick mark, cross, maybe some percentages here and there, because this will help you to prioritize, right? Otherwise, you can't just go ahead and do everything at one go, right? You need to see which is low impact, high effort, effort, low impact, and something of that sort. And once you do that, then look at the right solution. Don't start with the solution. Typically, we say that, oh, market is talking about metaverse. Let's do something around it. That's the typical thing, Can you relate to it? Your management, your bosses, your colleagues are saying, यार metaverse में बहुत कुछ हो रहा है. हम क्यों नहीं कर रहे? Don't look at that. That's not going to give you any benefit, right? Look at the use case, and then look at the technology. Okay, make technology to enable. You don't get slave to the technology, right? That's the whole point, right? Once you re-engineer, there look at the empowerment. Not to meet the customer's expectation, but to exceed customer expectations, because that's the unstated need part of it. And the most important thing, to sustain profitability. I'm a strong believer that you do something, it's not profitable, you'll not be able to sustain. Because there you're doing it for just a hobby. That, okay, for this year TMS, I need to show something innovative out of the box, so let me just launch it. Right, but it's at the end of the year, we see that, hey, it's not giving us any profits. Right? The bottom line is not there. Now you'll not be able to sustain that. Okay? So don't do things for hobby. Go ahead, implement at scale, because that will give you the real sense. Then once you have implemented, put in controls to monitor it, define your success metrics, and most importantly, go back to your customer and ask, is it what you're looking for? Are you happy? What else can we do? Because that's the critical part. And that's where you go back to your step one. Right? Okay. With that, let me just play a small video for you, which will kind of showcase at Bajaj that it's a little old video, but I thought that it's an apt one for this particular topic. Can I have the sound? So by the time they're looking at the sound, this is one of the use cases where we kind of put the customer at the center, looking at what basically the customer is really wanting. We looked at the data analytics part of it. We looked at the technology, right? And the most important part is we looked at how we can empower the customer. Iyer? How can we do that? ये कौन से वाला है? Okay. Let us try it again. If it works.
एक मिनट
मैडम, अरे ध्यान से चलाना चाहिए आपको। हाँ? देखा देखा, मैंने कहा था ना कि लड़की होगी।
मैडम, मैं कुछ हेल्प करूं क्या आपकी?
ठोक दी। अरे चलिए मैडम, आपको गैराज तक छोड़ दूं।
यहाँ गाड़ी ठुक गई और इनको सेल्फी लेनी है।
अरे इनको एल मार्क लगा के चलानी चाहिए गाड़ी।
हेलो मैम, क्या आप ठीक है? क्या मैं आपकी कुछ मदद कर सकता हूँ?
नहीं नहीं, यहाँ तो बहुत लोग हैं मदद करने के लिए। तू बता ना, बता दे यहाँ क्या हो रहा है।
अरे नहीं।
अरे कहाँ गया भाई? हेलो, अरे आप बता दीजिए यहाँ क्या चल रहा है। क्या हुआ? आप बता दीजिए। एक्सक्यूज मी, क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पर? नहीं
मैम, आपने तो सारा प्रोसेस अकेले कर लिया। आई विल टेक केयर ऑफ द रेस्ट।
ओके। हाँ पापा, वो गाड़ी का थोड़ा सा एक्सीडेंट हो गया है। नहीं नहीं, टेंशन वाली कोई बात नहीं है, मैंने संभाल लिया।
इस विमेंस डे इन स्टीरियोटाइप्स पे लगाएं ब्रेक, क्योंकि हम जानते हैं रोड पर आए कोई भी मुश्किल कॉन्फिडेंस से वो संभाल लेगी। A message by Bajaj Allianz General Insurance, proud supporter of women car owners with our 24/7 spot assistance. We are caringly yours because you are special.
So that's our motor on the spot for you. Okay. The genesis of this is customer. Okay. Look at some 15 years back. If there was a car accident, there would be, you need to call few people, somebody would come, tow the car, take it to the garage. There, the garage people will click some photographs. An intimation will happen to the insurance company. After some time, a surveyor will come, assess. There would be to and fro negotiations, renegotiations, right? A file will get created. That file goes on to 10 different desks. And then finally, there's an approval given. Then the work starts. Then your car will be repaired. And then the claim is settled, right? So roughly around 45 days. That's what the past was. Okay? No empowerment whatsoever. Now, here we use the technology, okay, and data. We are in a business in the last 20 odd years, which means that we have that data of claims that we have paid and not paid, right? We put all that data onto the lake. On top of it, we created some AI jing-bang. Along with that, a photogrammetry technology. Put that onto the app. Give the empowerment to the customer, just click photographs, upload. The AI is basically working and then saying, hey, for this damage, we are ready to pay 25,000 rupees. Customer says yes. And payment systems in India, we all know, right? Most advanced. Using UPI or IMPS or NEFT, depending upon the amount, money is transferred instantly to the customer's bank account. Entire process, currently, the last numbers I was looking at an average of 28 minutes. 45 days to 28 minutes. Empowerment. Right? Trust, as I said earlier. Because here what we did, we trust our customers. Yes, you're going to build your mitigants around that. It's not a blind trust, right? Because there are bad elements in the society which will try to take advantage of that, right? Frauds, right? So to mitigate those frauds, obviously there is, again, a technology taking care of it. That in case there is some issue, let's say the photograph has been tampered, right? An AI program is able to figure that out. Obviously, we don't tell the customer there that, hey, you have tampered it. But it goes into the manual process. No end-to-end automation, again. Right? Because if there is a fraud element, right, and you need to investigate, you need to have that human brain, to look at the various ifs and buts, right? The AI perhaps is not going to do that. Okay? Moving ahead. A very simple example, right? WhatsApp, right? I was reading somewhere that roughly around 88% of Indians, when they wake up, they don't say good morning to their spouse or children or do that pratna, but they look at their WhatsApp. Okay, so that is the power of WhatsApp today, that people are getting so used to it, right? SMS, nobody looks at it, right? So this is where your customer is, right? So put the empowerment there. We have 30 odd services across the value chain of general insurance based on the product that we have enabled, right? And what we did differently when COVID happened, obviously around the heavy lifting, as I was saying earlier, we did that, right? Typically you'll say people doing the simplest use case, let's put that. No, we didn't do it. The toughest, we went ahead and did that. Because that's going to give you that benefit, right? The simplest one is not going to help you, okay? And then if the bot fails, which the bot will fail, okay, seamlessly give it to a human, instantly, 24/7, no questions asked. Okay, there you can't say that, hey, my CB actually was that I'm going to replace the human with the bot. you're starting with on a wrong note. That's not the CBA. You can't replace humans. Again, I'm a very strong believer of that. Okay, AI भी तो human नहीं बना है, right? Simple logic. Okay. Then, looking at India, Bharat, we made it obviously vernacular, right? Then we put videos, right? Looking at the 3V, right? Soon on WhatsApp, there's going to be a new API which will take care of the voice notes as well, which means customers can send you a voice note. Your bot can actually read that and then also respond through a voice note or a video or a text, depending upon the use case. Right? So that 3V, this is a very, very good example from an implementation standpoint. Again, mobile app. Now we call our mobile app as Caringly Yours app, because that's our tagline. We could have called actually anything else, right? But the key is that if you're looking at the customer, right, and a business like insurance, what we felt roughly around 4.5 years back is, let's take that space of care, okay? Because how do you build that culture of care in an organization, right? We all talk about empathy, sympathy, empowerment, care, trust. How do you really imbibe that each and every employee, partner, to really take that forward? It's a repetition. You again and again talk to them on Caringly Yours, Caringly Yours, Caringly Yours. Right? Our annual awards, quarterly awards, we actually award people who display care, and we call them care specialists. Okay? There's an internal process that we have created which is called an ICU. Okay? Like in a hospital, there's an ICU. Okay? There's a patient, there would be few doctors, nurses taking care of ICU, and obviously in an ICU you take care of better. But can they do everything on their own? Perhaps not. If the patient is critical, what do? They typically pick up the phone and call the senior doctor, right? That's what we created internally. And for us, ICU means I care for you. Okay? A very simple implementation to that. Today, the regulator gives an insurer around 14 days to resolve a grievance. We do 100% in one day, consistently for the last 2 years, just because of ICU. How? The patient here, the customer, is already critical because he's gone to the regulator. Right? There is no second thoughts about it, right? Our agents, our customer care agents, the right bottom pyramid, they are empowered to do an ICU, which means as soon as they get the case, they pick up the phone, okay, and let's say it's a motor claim issue. They will call the head of motor claims directly. That's sir, critical case, an ICU case. It's a branding again. Okay, ICU case, teams have not been able to deliver, and that's why the customer has gone to the regulator. We need the resolution decision right now. If the head is not available, those guys are empowered to call the CEO to take an exception approval. Right? And with that, we've been able to deliver. Right? So it's that entire care element, as I was talking, to build that care, that empowerment, right? You need to actually walk the talk from top till bottom. People will, resonate, walk the talk only with the senior management. No, it has to be across, right? So with that, let me just pause, and I would love to take questions.
So I just wanted to kind of speak from the customer or the consumer perspective. So certain points and initiatives that you spoke about was fantastic. I mean, that's what is actually required in the true sense. I, as a customer, should be feeling that somebody is caring for me and doing it. But there are good examples. I'm sorry, but I'll be taking DHL Express as one of the examples here. So you have various mediums that are there through which you interact, right? So if I had a consignment coming in, I kind of possibly get an SMS message saying this is your waybill number and you need to go and upload. Now I have a challenge in terms of some problem that I'm encountering. There is no mechanism through which I can kind of reach out in that portal because it only allows. So I call the call center and I tell my problem. But it's now possibly about 2 weeks. Every day I get a courier with that waybill number, and I've told them that this consignment is possibly, it has to be abandoned because there is a problem in terms of the way the document has come in. But there is nobody to hear.
Right.
The update in the call center given is probably not percolated down to say that, okay, stop this or whatever. Okay, similarly, an example again, when I took an insurance for my laptop, I bought the laptop for my son.
Right.
And I registered it. It says that the insurance is not going to be valid if it's a gift. Okay, somewhere there is a mention.
True.
Now I bought it for my son. Now when a problem has come up, my son goes to the shop for repairs and they find that it's his name. And it was bought by me. And the person on the call center asks, so have you bought this laptop? He says, no, my father has given me. Oh, so it's a gift. And it gets categorized as gift and he is not entertained.
So I'm not too sure about, which insurance. If it's ours, it's an error.
No, it's not yours.
Okay. So let me admit that. Okay. It's
Now,
absolutely an error.
the entire process, it was a fairly expensive laptop, about 90,000, and nothing happened. It was pandemic time. I went ahead and I bought from Lamington Road a 1,25,000 laptop, all that. But I said I will pursue this. I had to reach out to the CEO and give a full history to say how and why are you categorizing. The kid just said, yes, my father has given me. So, okay, a gift. And that has just got recorded saying it's a gift, so I can't honor it.
See, in insurance, actually, there are a lot of acts, fortunately, unfortunately, right? And this basically falls under the purview of, the ownership, right? Ownership of the asset, right? Now, that asset could be a laptop, could be a mobile, could be a property, could be a car. Okay, now, if, there is a damage to that asset, right? The owner of that asset is the only authorized personnel to claim. That's a very basic thing in an insurance act, right? Now, while somebody made that act, yes, that particular point of, a father gifting it to a son, perhaps was not.
No, it was not gifting really. The thing is, the son studies, means he's in another city.
Yeah.
So his name, actually speaking, had he been in Mumbai itself, it would not have mattered because I am here, he is here.
The simple thing there was, if the laptop is in his name, the insurance is in his name, obviously not an issue. Okay? No issues at all, whether it's a gift or not.
The invoicing happened in my name, the insurance happened in his name.
So the insurance company there did a little mistake. The insurance should not have got issued. Because on what basis the insurance company went ahead and issued an insurance document without checking the ownership?
So why I just brought this point here was not in terms of conveying my concern about it. It's about concern related to the various mediums, the processes and certain things. They are sometimes not kind of talking and syncing up together. Yeah. That was basically the reason I just got this to the attention.
No, definitely. So that's the continuous process, I guess. Every organization, goes through that phase, right? Right. As I said earlier also, nothing is perfect. End to end, I'm yet to meet someone in the world who says that, everything is fine, end to end, there is no issues at all. Real all is well, perhaps is not there.
So this process part which we speak about, right? Now you very clearly stated that there is always supposed to be there is a need for an human touch. Now when it becomes like a defined process and unfortunately the agents are made to go through a very clear sequential step is where it starts affecting the customer. Because you're saying something, but the person at the other side is not able to relate. Maybe they are listening, but they're not able to relate it.
So typically in that sense, you become slaves to the process. Okay, and when we talk about customer service or experience, if you're following slaves to the process, which is the SOP, right? is not going to work out. Right?
Majority
For
is
customer
working
service,
still that.
actually there is no SOP. Okay, in my customer care production team, I have not given any SOP, no scripts.
It's fantastic.
Okay, no AST in a call center. Right? Why? Because, see, look at our industry, insurance. Nobody's going to wake up in the morning and say, today I'm feeling bored, let me call up the insurance company. No. Nobody, right? If they are calling, if they are reaching out, there is some genuine issue. Right? Now, it could be from an analysis standpoint, ACPT, right? It could be an agent issue, customer issue, process issue, technology issue, right? Or some other issue, right? But there is an issue, right? There is a breakage. So why to get the SOP into the breakage? It's an exception. Exception needs to be managed like an exception. You can't have a SOP for exception management, no? You have to deal it the way it is coming and what is really required.
So, sorry, Ankit, I just want to respond. The same process, he said ICU, we have the process in DHL Express. We call it straight to the top. So if you go to our website, it says that if you want to complain to the CEO or to myself, I look after customer service, you can click and the mail will reach me. But clearly there is a failure of the process, right? Because the customer service or the operations team should have escalated internally to the top or told you that you could escalate. But I will take this offline and I will resolve.
When your mail comes in, right, it comes in a do not reply. So when I respond, that mail comes back with a response.
I think the KYC team sends you a do not respond mail. Correct. Yeah, but the straight to the top is on the website. I'll take your complaint and I'll look at it as a case study. We'll talk offline. Thank you for giving it to me. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
So fantastic. This is Amit. I come from Ahmedabad. One very curious stuff probably is that whenever a vehicle is bought, normally it is seen that it's the agent decides which insurance company. So there is no customer choice which is normally given.
Right.
And this is a typical scenario of the vehicle industry.
True.
Now, another part which I got very impressed with that ad, do we have any statistics as to how many actually use this feature?
Yes.
Because in Ahmedabad, I have not seen any vehicle of yours which says Bajaj Allianz,
Actually, in Ahmedabad, we are not that present. So that's our sales job failure.
Okay. Because I was wondering that where could I see this, truck coming?
So basically, when we look at the overall statistics, right, if we process 100 claims, okay, the eligible claims for this kind of service, because this is typically right now meant for not big damages where the entire vehicle is kind of trashed or whatever, small damages, right? Maybe, right now up to a sum of 30,000 rupees of claim, right? Scratch hai, the bumper has been broken or the windshield has broken and all of that stuff. So that constitutes around 48% of our total claims, right? Out of that 48%, the last month number was 81% of those claims are getting processed through this.
Understood. One more follow-up question on this is that normally it is seen that the insurance process is normally not done by the customer but by the guy whom you take the your vehicle to. And then he keeps on asking you, saying that और भी कुछ damage करना है क्या? है ना? So how do you handle this?
So I guess that this was the answer, okay? As you rightly mentioned, now that's the ecosystem, right? At times you don't, you basically get into the act which you can control. And there are certain, your circle of control and your circle of influence, right? So it's around that.
But let me assure you, every time I've got more than what I've damaged.
No, we are aware. So let me also tell you, we are aware. Okay, and the unfortunate part is that you have a very limited control over that, right? But a feature like a motor on the spot, where you are empowering the customer, you are actually killing that also, right? Because this is a direct dealing with the customer. You are giving the money to the customer. Now it's up to the customer which garage the customer wants to go, whether the customer wants to get something which is not required to be repaired and pay something extra. That's up to the customer. Yeah.
On this enablement which you showed in the video, right? I believe to a great extent extent, we as consumers or customers invariably don't end up using it often. I think in a majority, in 100 count, possibly not more than 5-10% probably would be even using it.
So that's the enablement as an organization, our responsibility is, and that's the scale, and doing it for a hobby or really for the profitability, right? Because if you really think the question which Mr. Amit asked, right? If I'm going to do this more often, I'm actually making more profit because I'm not paying for the unwanted damages, right? Unwarranted damages, I'm going to save on that, right? So at the end of the day, right, I'm actually doing it for profit only, no? I'm exceeding customer expectations, yes, but at the end of the day, profit matters. Yeah.
But what happens is, what if the customer at that point of time, they're not happy with, because they're saying the claim amount or whatever. They say, okay, this is your damage of the car, this is the amount. But what if at that spot, the customer is not happy with the amount?
That goes to the offline process. Okay, simple. Right? It's not a push that we are saying, no, only 25,000 rupees will be approved. We are asking, we are taking your consent. Are you okay? 20-minute settlement for the cases where the customer is saying, I'm okay with this amount. Right? Wherever the customer is saying, no, I'm not okay. Right? It obviously goes to the offline process. And now there are technologies, right? So gone are those days where physical surveyor will go, through, the video streaming, you can actually do the entire assessment of the car. So you actually cut down that 45 days to a day as well. I guess I've taken more than what was given to me. My apologies, right?